we are going to discuss the last lesson from Flamingo book, and the author is Alphonse Daudet. Here about the author, it is written, which is not so much important, but we must know about the author and his name and his other achievements and words too. So Alphonse Daudet, 1840 to 1897, was a French novelist and short story writer. The last lesson is set in the days of the Franco-Prussian War 1870 to 1871, in which France was defeated by Prussia. Led by Bismarck, Prussia then consisted of what now are the nations of Germany, Poland, and parts of Austria. In the story of French districts of Alsace and Lorraine have passed into Prussian hands. So now we have to do is read the story to find out what effect this had on life at school. Okay, so notice these expressions in this text. So from here, while reading the text, we'll come to know about certain new words, and we have to know their meaning too. So here I'm starting. That is your chapter 1, the last lesson, and the author is Alphonse Daudet. I started for school very late that morning and was in great dread of a scolding, especially because M. Hamel had said that he would question us on participles and I did not know the first word about them. For a moment I thought of running away and spending the day out of doors. It was so warm, so bright, the birds were chirping at the edge of the woods and in the open field back of the swamp mill the Prussian soldiers were drilling. It was all such more tempting than the rule of participles, but I had the strength to resist and hurried off to school. So here we can see who is the speaker. So the speaker is about to go to school and he's very much worried that his teacher, his language teacher, Mr. M. Hamel, is going to ask him a question about participle, that is from grammar. So he was very much worried, and by the way, when he was going to his school, he saw some the usual thing, but he noticed some really different thing. So what was that? So when I passed the town hall, there was a crowd in front of the bulletin board. For the last 2 years, all our bad news had come from here. From there, the lost battles, the draft, the orders of the commanding officer, and I thought to myself without stopping, what can be the matter now? So the speaker, he questioned himself because that particular morning he saw something very much unusual and he wanted to find it out. So the next page. Then, as I hurried by as fast as I could go, the blacksmith, Vetcher, who was there with his apprentice reading the bulletin, called after me, "Don't go so fast, Bub, you will get to your school in plenty of time." I thought he was making fun of me and reached Mr. M. Hamel's little garden all out of breath. So, usually, when school began, there was a great bustle which could be heard out in the street, the opening and closing of desks. Lessons repeated in unison, very loud, with our hands over our ears to understand better, and the teacher's great ruler rapping on the table. So, the usual thing which always happened to the speaker, it did not happen on that day. That was something that was something very much uh, unusual thing for the speaker, for that little boy who was going to his school. So from here we can understand that that little boy Franz, whose name is Franz, he when he saw the school environment, it was not usual, it was very much different from other days. So what was the reason? So here is it is through the window, but now it was all so still. I had counted on the commotion to get to my desk without being seen, but of course, that day everything had to be as quiet as Sunday morning. Through the window, I saw my classmates already in their places and M. Hamill walking up and down with his terrible iron ruler under his arm. I had to open the door and go in before everybody. You can imagine how I blushed and how frightened I was. So, when he was about to enter into the classroom, Franz was frightened. He blushed. He was not getting exactly the word that he can say to his teacher that why he got late on that particular day. But nothing happened. M. Hamill saw me and said very kindly, "Go to your place quite quickly, little Franz. We were beginning without you." I jumped over the bench and sat down at my desk. Not till then, when I had got a little over my fright, did I see that our teacher had on his beautiful green coat, his frilled shirt, and the little black silk cap, all embroidered, that he never wore except on inspection and prize days. So that made him little worry about Franz, that why the teacher is wearing very much different dress that he usually used to wear on special occasions. Besides, the whole school seemed so strange and solemn, but the thing that surprised me most was to see on the back benches that were always empty the village people sitting quietly like ourselves. Old Hosser with his tree-cornered hat, the former mayor, the former postmaster, and several others besides. So Franz, he has noticed that at the back benches there were the common people whom who he have not seen in the classroom again. Before. So that was something very much unusual and strange for Franz. Everybody looked sad, and Hosser had brought an old primer thumbed at the edges, and he held it open on his knees with his great spectacles lying across the pages. While I was wondering about it all, M. Hamill mounted his chair and, in the same grave and gentle tone which he had used to me, said, "My garden, this is the my children, this is the last lesson I shall give you. The order has come from Berlin to teach only German in the schools of Alsace and Lorraine. The new master comes tomorrow. This is your last French lesson. I want you to be very attentive." So, M. Hamill was about to deliver his last class. He was about to take his last class in the school. That was his French class. He was a language teacher. So he said that as the two districts, that is Alice and Lorraine, they have been captured by the German. So from next day onwards, you will be learning German and not French. What a thunderclap these words were to me! Oh, the wretches! That was what they had put up at the town hall. So he was amazed, he was shocked to understand that was the ultimate reason why in the street, there was crowd and the entire school environment was different, why his teacher was wearing something very unusual dress, why the common people were sitting at the back benches. So finally he had summarized the reason